Well, we are now paying a visit to Fort Atkinson State Historical Park, and that is located in Washington County.
It's just on the edge of the town known as Fort Calhoun. In this segment, John rediscovers why this reconstructed fort is so beautiful and significant to local and national history.
Well, hi everybody. We are at Fort Atkinson. Joining me now is the superintendent. We have Jason Groff. So where does this fort fall? Like, when was it built? Is it around the time of Lewis and Clark? Where was this in time?
So Lewis and Clark stopped here on their expedition out to the west coast, 1804. When they got done with their expedition, they went back to DC and stated this would be a great site for a military fort. So in 1820, this was the second fort. The first one was called Cantonment, Missouri. It was built up about 1.5 miles on the river and it actually flooded. And then they moved to the current location in 1820. The main purpose of the fort was to protect the fur trade. We had 1/4 of the U.S. Army stationed here with 1,100 soldiers. The fort was here from 1820 to 1827. And then the fort was disbanded in 1827, and then the soldiers from the fort were dispatched out on the Santa Fe Trail.
What would life have been like here at the fort?
Life was harsh living out on the frontier fort. There were a lot of deaths, but they also had a lot of luxuries out here too. They did plays out here in our council house, dances, musicals, anything they could get up the river on the keelboats, they would be selling out at the settler store. There was a lot of firsts here. First library, first school, first community, first agricultural, first bowling alley. So they did have some of the luxuries that they had back home.
Why was this a great spot? I know Lewis and Clark, they felt like this was going to be a good spot for a military fort. Why was it a good spot?
We got to keep in mind everything, all the transportation for most part was coming up on the rivers. So anything close to the river was a great location. They had access to the river, they had access to great building resources around here, a lot of trees, and then agricultural. This was the basically first agricultural in Nebraska. So it was a great spot for that reason right there. But also it had relatively close to St. Louis. So, you know, they were bringing up supplies and soldiers up from St. Louis up to this location. So it was a great spot for that also.
What goes on here today? What can people do here today?
So from May through October, the first Sunday of the month, both Saturday and Sunday, we have reenactors that portray the life of the 1820s. If you come out for one of our living history weekends, you'll see a blacksmith, tinsmith, fully stocked settler store, musicians, soldiers, spinners and weavers. These reenactors portray the life of what it was like in the 1820s. And they also do a lot of research and portray an individual person that was stationed here.
Okay, Jason, well, this is really an amazing spot here in our state. Thank you very much for showing us around and telling us a little bit more about Fort Atkinson.